Robert Herjavec and Kevin O'Leary.
Thank you for having us. This is such an honor. From my assistant Kevin and I, we're very happy you could be here. Okay, I love healthcare. Our business, this is our fastest growing vertical, so man, I love this stuff. There's a lot of change in your industry happening just like mine. So let me start by telling you something. I'm Kevin O'Leary. Well, if I'm online, you don't know if I'm not Kevin O'Leary. In the online world, the only way you know who I am is depending on online identity access. And how many of us can really verify online access? And do you know what this is? This is a weapon. And you know what this weapon can do to you? It can steal your most valuable information. And to many people in the world, this is not a phone, this is not an online device, this is a weapon. Or it's an ATM to make cash. And do you know what the most valuable piece of data in your entire environment is? It's a health record. It is unbelievable the growth in health record, fraud, ransomware, and all of that stuff. By the way, this is the one time I've ever done a speech with notes. Is somewhere around 6 to 7, although somebody at my lunch they said it could be 20. So let's agree it's way more than a credit card. And there's one reason for that. A credit card can be replicated really quickly. Somebody steals my credit card. You know what? I'm pretty sure American Express by tomorrow will have a new one for me. Somebody steals my health record. It's a bit of a problem. And here's the other element. Somebody steals my money, the banks are going to protect me to a certain degree. There's a bit of an insurance blanket around that, not with my health record. The other thing you're going to see in this sector is the rise of non-financial gain for health records. Terrorists, government nations, the people that are beginning to hack health data, does the same thing. So if I take 100,000, multiply times 10, I get to 1 million. God thought I was an idiot. Today, we use debentures. People love the show because it teaches you the language of business. You cannot be successful in this country unless you understand enough about the business basics. You've got to take care of yourself. Thank you very much for having me.
So much, you know, best man assistant I've ever had. Keeps my suits fresh. I want to keep on the theme of Shark Tank because Robert nailed a really interesting concept in the journey of this show's growth. #1 family show in America today. Many of you have said to me while I've been here that your children ages 9, 10, 11 are watching it. That's terrific. People pursuing entrepreneurial spirits, that's wonderful for children, very important. But there are some lessons to be learned. I teach graduating cohorts of engineers now, places like Notre Dame and MIT, because generally 1/3 of that class is going to be entrepreneurial in nature. I like to see their deals, and I like to support entrepreneurial endeavors. Shark Tank. The entrepreneur was able to articulate the opportunity in 90 seconds or less. In other words, explain to you, sitting in front of you with the pressure of those lights, and that moment when your heart is pounding, to be able to explain in less than a minute and a half why they were there. What's the opportunity? If you can't do that, if you can't explain that to someone, you'll never be successful. Same for a general, same for a politician, same for a preacher. You have to be able to articulate exactly what the opportunity is and where you're going to go. That's the beginning of leadership. Number 2, you have to be able to explain why you are the person or part of the team that can execute the business plan. What is it about you that makes you special, that reduces the risk in the pursuit of that business plan? Did you work for somebody in the same industry? Have you failed before and learned your lesson? Or do you know something that someone else doesn't know? When these two come together, and I know Robert's been sitting in many pitches, all of a sudden the room starts to sizzle like an isotope. You can explain the opportunity, and it's a good one, and all of a sudden you're able to provide a lot of confidence to the investor that you'll be able to execute the business plan. Think about how important that is when you're trying to sell a good or service to somebody. Those two elements have to be there. Now here's number 3, and this one is the killer. This is the one I teach thousands of students to never, ever make this mistake. You can imagine 100,000 people apply to be in Shark Tank. Maybe 300 or 400 get a second look. Of that, maybe 200 get an opportunity to come and pitch, and maybe 150 of them ever get on the carpet. How hard it is to get there. But here's number 3. Remember, the room's now sizzling. Everybody wants to write a check. I've seen the air evaporate out of the Shark Tank like that when this occurs. You have to know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, and you made it to the end, and everybody's ready to invest, you deserve to burn in hell in perpetuity. I will put you there personally. The language of business is numerical. If you don't know your numbers, bring somebody who does. If you can actually do that, if you're able to put all 3 of those together, that is actually the definition of leadership. It's so profound, the confidence that you build being able to answer, what's the size of the market? What's the gross margin? What's the break-even analysis? How many competitors are there? Bang, 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 bang. You have the answers, you get a check. Then it's your job to execute. But that's the first stage. That is what I teach young entrepreneurs all the time. These 3, if there's nothing else you remember from this presentation, will serve you well for the rest of your life. No question about it. Now, having gone through this journey for almost a decade now, I have 40 private companies in my portfolio. That's a lot.
I think the world does not reward mediocrity. I think if you want to build a great business, you got to be great at something. I think if you're great at something and you can sell it, everything else follows.
That's good. Any counterpoint coming off of?
Well, look, you can't deny that, passion for a business is not a prerequisite for success. Everybody's passionate. You need some execution skills. And what I've often
Not
found,
everybody's passionate. I've had people who barely get through the day.
I'm happy, if I see a great idea, here's how I look at it. And this is after having done deals for decades. If it's a great idea and I think the entrepreneur is mediocre, and you suggest that mediocrity is not a good thing, I like 51%. That way I can whack them if they don't achieve it. And then bring in better management, and they still own 49%, thank goodness they know me, and I'll actually make it successful with better teams. I do that all the time.
Well, I'm not like you. I actually have a job. So I don't want to whack somebody and go and work at their business. I want somebody who's going to wake up every day and all they're going to think, they want that business to be great.
If they're not successful, the trouble with people that get involved in the emotional aspect of business, they think it's kumbaya, sit around the fireplace, sing the